So today we're doing Manhattan.
Yes.
Let's talk Manhattan real quick. It's one of the 6 classic cocktails in the famous The Fine Art of Mixing Drinks by David Embury.
Sure.
Right? So this is old school. We're talking 1870-ish.
So fancy.
1870s, that's how old this drink is.
Okay.
Originally it was rye because that's the whiskey that was most common during that time, right? So it's classically it's a rye. Now we do have one bourbon just to try things out, the makers in the middle. Now, the ingredients are sweet vermouth, right? Red vermouth, not dry vermouth.
Sure.
Angostura or bitters. We're using Angostura bitters. Rye, whiskey of some sort.
So things over here.
And cherries.
So walk me through this. What are the steps to make a Manhattan?
Okay.
We're gonna switch up the whiskey every time we do it.
Now, my tools here are mixing spoon, a mixing glass, because this drink is stirred, not shaken.
Right.
You don't want to shake it in the cocktail and bruise it. You want to stir it. Then you've got your strainer, and you've got your measuring thingamajiggy.
Okay.
And then you've got your cherries, and your little tongs for cherries, and you've got the stick. Now, we're gonna start with bitters.
Now, bitters is one of these things that people have very strong feelings about. What kind of bitters did we pull down for this?
I picked Angostura,
Okay.
or stir up, because
Is this a respectable
Because
bitter?
it's just the most classic. It's like saying Coke. Now you can get fancier and different and then we'll mix things up.
You hear that? It's the impending wave of bitters hate
Oh,
that will fill the comments.
now everybody has their own pet bitters and there's probably 30 we could have chosen from.
All right, but this isn't something.
But you can get this at the damn grocery store.
This isn't something weird or funky.
No.
This is like, because we don't want that to be the thing.
Right, that's
to
remarkable.
weird out the whiskey.
And
we
that's
want to
what-
switch up the whiskey, or weird out the cocktail. We want to switch up the whiskey.
Yeah, and if you did have a really amazing bitters, you want to use a more simple whiskey so that the bitter shines. This is a classic Martini Rossi red vermouth.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is our ratio is gonna be 2 dashes of bitters, 1/3 to 1 ounce of sweet vermouth,
Yeah.
and 2 ounces of whiskey.
And you're doing it in this thing here. This
And I'm doing it in this thing here. We're going number 5 first?
Yes.
Good.
MICHTER'S rye.
Oh, okay, done.
MICHTER'S rye.
Number 5, MICHTER'S rye. Now you're gonna need to keep these straight. 1 and 2. Now what we're doing is putting some ice in there, and I don't have the fancy ice right here, but we've got ice.
Now, you're not stirring, gingerly, but you're not blending the damn.
Right.
You're just getting it in.
That's right.
Okay.
Now, I pre-chilled these so that they would be a cold glass.
That was just water and ice in there?
Yep, just water and ice.
So far,
There
this
you go.
is pretty straightforward.
So these are the Bing cherries,
Yeah.
and then one of the
So one of
Regina
each.
cherries.
Sure. And then right on
Now
top.
try that one, and let me know what you think.
Do I put the cherries in here?
No,
Do I
I think it's up to you. Some people keep it out and drink them. Some people put it in there to sweeten the drink even more. Okay, so just for our first test case, here's what I want you to do. Try one of the cherries, take a sip. Try the next cherry, take a sip. So you can see the difference.
I gotta tell you, this is the 5th highest rated one. I'm very pleased.
Yeah, I think it's just 5th highest rated because it's harder for people to get a hold of. See the difference in that Bing cherry? Isn't that good?
Ooh, so the sweeter cherry takes a lot of the sweetness out of the Manhattan.
It does.
Yeah.
It actually makes it taste more like a whiskey drink.
It does.
Okay, what's next? I'm gonna start making the base while you figure that out.
Woodford Reserve Rye. Looks like this right here is the Woodford.
Same process. All right, same thing. One of each. Bing, bing. I'm gonna try this at first.
No.
Okay, what's next?
The 3rd most popular whiskey for making a Manhattan, according to a big, giant pile of whiskey lovers, is Maker's 46, which we definitely have.
We definitely had as of,
because I called somebody to make sure we have it.
we definitely have as of yesterday at 4 o'clock. The students got friendly with my whiskey selection.
So this is Maker's.
We're just using Makers. So this will be a bourbon Manhattan. A
Yeah.
classic
Well,
dry
and
cocktail.
Honestly, there were a lot of bourbons that ended up on the list, just not in the top 5.
Oh, I see why rye is the drink of choice.
Yeah?
Yeah. So the thing about bourbon is it's already cherried and sweetened pretty,
It's cherry on cherry.
and so it's too much.
We'll go back and we'll do
Yeah, we'll come
side-by-side comparisons.
So I'm doing just 1 to 2 ratios. All right. Ooh. I'm gonna withhold judgment, but that one just took a big jump into the lead for me. You see what I mean?
Complex. And you're rinsing these out. So.
I'm rinsing these out in between.
Okay. The number 1 whiskey for making a Manhattan is Bulleit Rye. I have a theory. Because Bulleit Rye is so readily available and so common in bars, anytime they order a Manhattan, it's often going to come with Bulleit Rye, and they like Manhattans, so therefore, Bulleit Rye is the whiskey to do a Manhattan.
Now remember, we like Bulleit Rye.
I know.
So we're biased.
But I will reserve judgment because I've never actually had a Manhattan with Bulleit Rye. We'll see if it deserves the top spot.
There we go. Now, there we go. All right, that's it for the mixing portion. Oh, no. I have a surprise. Because these are a little more on the 30 or under range.
Sure.
Right? I wanted to see
So these are affordable and popular?
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually a cocktail is made with lower quality or a medium to low.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to pour a $400 whiskey into a cocktail.
Sure.
Right? And this isn't a $400 whiskey, but it is a much more expensive whiskey. I wanted to see, does an expensive whiskey improve a cocktail like everyone would think it might? I wanted to try the High West Borai.
They call it Boo Rye.
It's Boo Rye because it's a mix of bourbon and rye.
Right. So
Right?
if
Now, I could have gone classic.
you can't make up your mind between bourbon or rye.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Canadian whiskey is another popular whiskey that
Yeah, it is.
people do Manhattans
Royals.
with, but it did not show up in the top 5.
No, because it's super sweet and smooth, and I could see how you would want something to give a little kick to the drink.
Yeah, with some more character. And what is it about this whiskey? Is it just, hey, they combine bourbon and rye and that's it?
Yeah.
All right.
That's basically it.
So I think I just really undercut the entire marketing effort for this particular whiskey.
Yeah.
Oh, you mix bourbon and rye.
Huh.
Good on you.
Good. Oh, dude. Come on.
Blind taste test. Okay.
Now, while I'm doing this, I'll give you a little, just a short little thing where Manhattans came from. I bet you'll never guess. Little Rock, Arkansas. It's called the Manhattan of the South.
Shut up.
I'm just kidding.
You could have.
No, they actually had come from Manhattan. And what's funny is there's a story that it was invented by a guy named Dr. Ian Marshall for a party for Lady Winston.
Yes.
Winston Churchill's mom.
I'm saying
that she held to honor Samuel Tilden.
I googled all of 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And apparently Winston Churchill was involved somehow.
Because here's the thing, that's fiction.
Oh.
It's on 30 websites. Here's the story of the Manhattan.
Right.
But the thing is, at the time that would have happened, she was actually pregnant and out of the country. So, blind taste test. Are you ready for the whiskey that wasn't invented by Winston Churchill's mom?
Sure.
But was definitely invented in Manhattan. Here's one. Do you need a notepad or something to take notes?
What am I, a chump?
Here's 2. Here's 3. Here's 4. Here's 5. And here's 6. Now, do you remember what your favorite was?
Either 3 or 5. I'm gonna go back to those.
So 3 was this one.
Yeah, there's the woodiness that I liked out of them.
Yep, and 5 was Rittenhouse. So Rittenhouse was my instant favorite as we were going through.
That makes sense because as we're going through and I knew what we were drinking, the things that I liked about both of those was the more, had more wood character. You get that oak note through all of the other sweet things going on in Manhattan. Let me go.
You know what? I would have gone for Borai, but at the end it gets this overly sweet tangent because the cherry and the vermouth is accenting all of the clingy sweetness. So I'm gonna go Rittenhouse as my number 1.
I'm going Rittenhouse number 1.
I'm going Rittenhouse number 1.
Okay, I just did Woodford Reserve again. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, just because it adds a little bit of character.
It does. Well, so does the Woodford Reserve. It's the character that I like. It's the oak character, but this is a little bit more thin.
Yes.
A little more of a thin oak. This has more robust, rich wood flavors.
Yes, I totally agree.
Let me tell you this. The Bulleit Rye, the number 1, I like it a lot. I think it's not an abomination for it to be in the number 1 spot, but I'm familiar with Bulleit Rye, and it's exactly what I was expecting.
You see that little weird clingy note at the very end, though?
I like the Boo Rye a lot. Popular opinion, Bulleit Rye. We like Rittenhouse Rye.
Yep. Now, why don't we make a giant Manhattan and this?
And you're pouring. into a mixing bowl.
Yeah, this is called the Blended Manhattan. It's a really rare drink. Most people don't know about it. It's primarily served on South Padre Island during spring break.
All right, so just to keep it fancy.
Oh, because the straw. You're supposed to do this in polite society. Drinking out of a giant silver bowl is done with one hand, with the other hand as a support. Right? This is an Emily post. You can look this up. And one pinky and a ring finger out, and then you sip from the straw.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's delicious.
I don't know about you, but I feel really fancy. All right, so that's the best.
That's pretty good.
For a Manhattan, is there any kind of development with our things?
The roof is going on.
We have a lot of Manhattan, and we're making a Manhattan Island iced tea. Look at that. With the cherries.
A pile of cherries at the end.
Cheers.
Let's make it 40. Yeah, let's do a tape measure because.
So we can judge that you're 5'2".
No. We need to measure the fridge because we're going to use that fridge in here under the bar.
To the gym! You know, I decided something. Don't really like Manhattans.
Really? Why?
They're too sweet.
Yeah, they are pretty sweet.
Super sweet.
Here's the thing on most cocktails.
Yeah.
Even the ones that my first sip, I go, my God, that's a work of art.
Right.
About 3 sips in,
It gets old.
I'm done.
We've done an old-fashioned episode.
Yep.
And we'll link it up here. I like old-fashions a lot better than Manhattans, but still cocktails are.
Yeah.
All right, so what's happened this week with the building?
The building is they're finishing the last of the support roof struts and then putting on the panels before they put on the metal sheeting on the roof.
Right.
That's it.
You're blowing my mind.
That's all that's happening.
You want to hit that, buddy?
No. No.